Today's video is about top 10 classic cars from 1960 to 1970. 10. 1965 Ford Shelby Mustang GT350. The Ford Shelby Mustang GT350 was one of the few things that helped establish the Mustang's identity when it was initially debuted in 1965. This was primarily due to the fact that it was so quick when it was first introduced. The vehicle had a high performance level and characteristics that gave it the illusion of having been developed specifically for competition, such as components that gave it a racing-focused design. It only takes a quick glance at the Shelby GT350 for people who are passionate about cars to be convinced that they need to get their hands on one. The powerful engine of the vehicle had a top speed of 138 miles per hour and was capable of producing 306 horsepower. Its top acceleration rate was also 138 miles per hour. In general, the Ford Shelby Mustang GT350 was an excellent example of how good looks and strong performance can work together to create something truly remarkable. 9. 1964 Chevrolet Chevelle. Unfortunately for anyone who had a passion for muscle vehicles, Chevrolet ceased production of the Chevelle in 1978, 10 years after the model had been released to the general public for the first time in 1964. This was one of the most successful automobiles that Chevy has ever made, and it reached incredible levels of sales throughout its time on the market. Despite this, there are whispers that the automaker may resume production of the vehicle in the not-too-distant future, which is a possibility according to the speculations. Under the hood of the vehicle was discovered a V8 engine that had a capacity of 300 horsepower and had a displacement of 327 cubic inches. People were drawn to the automobile because it radiated power and dominated the road. This was one of the reasons why they liked it so much. 8. Shelby Cobra. At the beginning of the 1960s, a race car driver by name of Carroll Shelby had the idea to create a sports car that was both powerful and lightweight. Shelby built one of the most iconic race/street cars in the history of automobiles using the chassis from an AC-Ace and a V8 engine purchased from Ford. The Shelby Cobra, which was manufactured from 1962 through 1967 and put on the market at that time, is frequently included in the very best muscle cars. The Cobra's acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour was capped at 4.5 seconds thanks to its weight of a little over 2,000 pounds and its enormous front-mounted 427 cubic inch V8 engine. 7. 1964 Pontiac GTO. As soon as the first GTO was seen on the market in 1964, it was given the nickname the GOAT, which was a reflection of the vehicle's outstanding on-road personality and performance. The muscle vehicle came standard with a V8 engine that was 6.4 liters in displacement and had the capacity to generate 325 horsepower. When it was stated that manufacture of this car would stop in 2006, aficionados hoped that the announcement was a prank. 6. 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado. The Toronado has arrived. It was the first front-drive production car made in America since the 1937 Cord 810 and 812, and it weighed 4,800 pounds. It measured 211 inches in length, and it rode on a wheelbase that measured 119 inches. It stood 52.8 inches tall, which was the same height as a Corvair but 2.7 inches lower than an 88. It had an exaggeratedly tall hood and short, genuine fastback deck proportions, but the long dash-to-axle ratio gave away what was hidden underneath, a longitudinal 425 cubic inch, 90-degree V8 engine. The vehicle was able to produce 335 horsepower and accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 7 seconds, making it one of the most potent muscle cars available at the time. The muscle vehicle was praised highly by a number of critics for both its impressive driving capabilities and its distinctive overall appearance. In addition, the car distinguished out from its competitors due to its long front end and small rear end, both of which were fantastic features. It was front chain drive as well. Well, do you like what you are seeing so far? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep watching because you don't want to miss what we have at the number 1 spot. 5. Ford Cortina. The Ford Cortina was by far and away the most well-liked vehicle in the United Kingdom throughout the 1970s. At the London Motor Show in 1970, Ford made history by presenting the beautiful Mk3, which was designed with American inspiration. The Mk3 basically took the place of the Mk2 Cortina and the Corsair. Ford pinned its hopes on a larger saloon that targeted fleet and family buyers with the introduction of the Mk3. There was a Ford Cortina model for every price point, from the most basic to the most luxurious, ranging from the GXL to the 2000e. The Mk4 was released in 1976 and was a radically redesigned version of the Mk3 that featured a more squared-off appearance. This was then followed by an improved version of the Mk5 in 1979, which continued production of the Cortina right up until the contentious introduction of the Ford Sierra. 4. Alfa Romeo Alfa Sud. Although it won't be known for the quality of its sheet metal or rust proofing, the Alfa Sud was one of the most important automobiles of the 1970s. However, neither of those qualities will be remembered. Because it was manufactured at a new Alfa Romeo factory on the outskirts of Naples in southern Italy, the name Sud was given to the vehicle when it was introduced in 1972. The first completely redesigned Alfa in many years featured front-wheel drive and a variety of new engines with a flat-4 configuration. Alfa Romeo set the standard for compact cars that are pleasant to drive, despite the fact that the company had no prior experience in the construction of front-wheel drive automobiles. 1976 saw the release of the Giugiaro-designed Alfa Sud Coupe, which remained in production until 1983 when it was succeeded by the Alfa Romeo 33. 3. Saab 99 Turbo. The addition of a turbocharger to the otherwise unassuming Saab 99 was like your Auntie Agnetha deciding to go bungee jumping instead of attending bingo night. It took a car that was reliable and trustworthy and turned it into a performance icon, which paved the way for the development of turbocharged family cars in the future. It demonstrated that performance and practicability are not mutually exclusive concepts. There were 4 distinct body styles available for the Mazda 99 Turbo when it was first introduced in 1978. This gave the car, which had its beginnings in the 1960s, a new lease on life. This was a car that could reach speeds of up to 120 miles per hour and give even the so-called average Joe the sensation of being the original Stig. 2. Datsun 240Z. Japan introduced one of the most innovative sports cars of its era while Britain was still asleep, making it one of the most significant moments in automotive history. The Datsun 240Z was a sales phenomenon, particularly in the United States, where it outsold every European sports car. This was especially true in America. After the release of the 240Z at the beginning of the 1970s, cars like the Jaguar E-Type and the MGB/C were made to look like they were from the previous decade. The dashing Datsun ushered in a new established order. It was a tremendous value for the money, and it had excellent handling and acceleration, which helped it become the most popular sports car of the 1970s. It was inevitable that comparisons would be made with British sports cars, such as when people referred to the 240Z as the Big Heeley and the Japanese E-Type. 1. Lotus Esprit. The Lotus Esprit was undoubtedly one of Giorgetto Giugiaro's finest designs, and it is known all over the globe for its starring role as Wet Nelly in the 1977 James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me. This film was released in 1977. It was the second mid-engine car that the manufacturer had produced, and it used the same 2.0-liter engine as was used in the Eclat and the Elite. The quality problems that were present in the earlier automobiles were fixed with the introduction of the S2 in 1979, which was followed by the introduction of the S3 in 1981. Despite this, the turbo model that was released in 1980 was the one that provided the Esprit with the level of performance necessary to earn a seat at the head table of the supercar elite. So, that's it for today's video. What do you think of the number 1 spot? Hit us up in the comments and let's chat. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications for our channel so you never miss what's coming next from us. Thanks for watching.